Severance has an issue with the way it writes its mystery. I'll cover that first, then I'll tackle the counter-argument that the show is character-driven. True Detective Season 1 is the best mystery TV show I know, so I'll use it as a comparison. Severance and True don't write their mysteries exactly the same, but there are similarities. Severance provides multiple straightforward questions that each have a straightforward answer. What does MDR do? What are the baby goats for? What is Cold Harbor? Where is Gemma? Each of these questions could be answered in a single exposition scene. True has one big mystery: who killed Dora Lang? Then there are multiple puzzle pieces of information that slowly create a picture of what happened to her. Both of these mystery stories use reveals. For Severance, reveals are answers to different questions. For True Detective, reveals are small puzzle pieces to the entire story. With Severance's mystery style, the individual reveals each serve as a strong payoff on their own. With True's writing style, the reveals don't do anything until enough reveals have been pieced together to make a payoff. Neither mystery style is superior, but I believe Severance has it easier because in theory, the payoffs are much easier to write. With True, the audience has to remember all of the past reveals and piece them together to understand the payoff. It's not like right before the payoff, the characters sit down and explain how all of the past reveals connected to make one major reveal. However, despite having a harder style to write for, I believe True Detective is a more satisfying mystery than Severance, especially on rewatches. The reason is the pacing of the reveals. In every episode, there are a couple of puzzle pieces added to the board. If you want a quick recap, in my video on True Detective Season 1, I explained the most important puzzle pieces up until episode 5's halfway point. Severance does not deliver reveals at this pace. A lot of the answers we do get lead to bigger questions. I'll cover Season 2 for example. At the time of writing this, episode 8 is the most recent episode. Why is Mark so important? Because he can help out with Cold Harbor. What is Cold Harbor? It's a room on the testing floor. What is its actual importance? We don't know. What makes Mark able to complete it? Don't know. What is the elevator Irv painted? It's the exports hall. What's that? It's an elevator leading down to the testing floor where Gemma is being held and doing tests. What is she doing them for? Don't know. Why did they take her specifically? Maybe to get Mark into Lumen? Why did Helly lie about what she did during the OTC? Because she was a spy. What are the goats for? We don't know, but the Mammalian department takes care of them. What is the true purpose of O&D? We don't know, but one of their symbols was about ego death. What's the purpose of MDR? We still don't know. One thing this story loves to do is give partial answers. Imagine I asked you for your name, and you said, it's of Spanish origin. You technically revealed information that I didn't know, but you didn't answer my question, and your partial answer barely narrowed down the potential answers. Answering questions like this isn't a proper payoff. I hope some of these are answered in the remaining 2 episodes, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't. Regardless, there are so many questions that could easily be answered, creating satisfying payoffs, but the story chooses to delay these reveals for no good reason. A lot of what happens in between the reveals isn't that great, which leads me to my second point. A common response I saw to criticisms of the plot's pacing and mystery was that the show was character-driven and had a lot of valuable character development apart from the mystery. There were counter-arguments suggesting that the mystery wasn't the story's engine, and that if you aren't paying attention to the characters, you're missing the point of the story. I completely disagree. I think the mystery is the engine, and the writers are preying on our curiosity to drag out the show for multiple seasons to make more money. To each their own, but let's do a little experiment to prove my point. Let's imagine a version of the story that replaces mystery with dramatic irony. That way the mystery is no longer the engine. Let's rewind to Season 1. As soon as we see MDR put the numbers in the box, the show cuts to a scene of the Lumen higher-ups, like Cobell or Helena, explaining exactly what MDR does. Then it cuts back. When we first see Miss Casey, the show cuts to Season 2 Episode 7, which explains Mark and Gemma's history, explains how she's trapped, and explains exactly why she's being used. When Gemma asks about Cold Harbor, we get a full explanation of it and why Mark is so important to it. When the main characters see the baby goats, cut to a scene explaining their purpose. When O&D's fighting cards are shown, cut to a full explanation of what O&D does and what the symbols mean. In Season 2, when Helly lies about the OTC, cut to Helena revealing that she's a mole. With this cut of the show, the story remains exactly the same. The only difference is that the writers can no longer take advantage of the audience's curiosity. The traditional mystery element is removed. While the characters are still solving the mystery, we already have all the answers. Are the characters strong enough to carry the show in this cut, or is the show no longer interesting because the questions are answered as soon as they're proposed? If the story's engine wasn't the mystery and the audience's curiosity, then this version of the story should still be able to work due to the amazing characters. If you could still enjoy this cut of the show, more power to you, but I think this version would be abysmal. I would rather watch a summary of the show at that point.